How's it going, everyone? T-Rav here, and I'm a big fan of Dungeons & Dragons. I started playing in the year 2020, you know, the year where everyone was on vacation, relaxing in their homes, and nothing bad ever happened. Excuse me. Is that blood? Anyway, in case you couldn't tell, I'm also a big fan of superheroes. I don't know if it's obvious or not, I do try to keep it subtle. So, I figured for this video, I turned D&D monsters into superheroes and villains. So, with the intro out of the way, roll initiative! In a far-off galaxy lived a race of illithids, a hive-mind species who felt like they were superior beings. They would go to different planets infecting people with brain larvae, turning them into illithids. But an intergalactic war broke out, and all but one were slaughtered. This was a young illithid, and instead of fighting, they ran and hid in a nebula, waiting for the bloodbath to end. They were the sole survivor of their race, and they felt great guilt. They had to make up for their cowardness, so they'll travel across space in their Nautilus ship, looking for a new home. And they found Earth. These Earthlings seemed quite primitive, at least compared to the illithid, so they started their work in recreating the hive mind. At first, nobody knew what was happening. People all over the globe started disappearing. Some people have witnessed these alien abductions, but they were brushed off as lunatics spreading conspiracy theories. Or at least, that's what the government wanted people to think. The idea of an alien invasion could spark mass panic. So, they tried to keep the illithid under wraps. But that was until an army of them swarmed the city of Wizard's Coast. Luckily, Wizard's Coast is heavily populated with heroes that can defend their city. The leader of this new illithid army, now going by the Mind Flayer, wanted to take control of Earth, starting with this city and claim it as New Far Realm, and turn everyone into one of his own. But he was quickly thwarted by a party of heroes. They quickly wiped out the illithid army. Most heroes have a strict no-kill policy, so they'll try to knock out the illithids so they can try to cure them later. But the anti-heroes, who are oftentimes labeled as murder hobos by the press, were informed that there were no cures, so they did not hesitate to kill them on sight. Wizard's Coast, as the name implies, is a peculiar city. Most of the people here are magical, and because of this, some of them became heroes, and some used their magic for villainy. But when the city was overrun by illithids, everyone joined the fight to protect their homes. The illithids who survived the war would be put into stasis and stored in Area 51 for study. And for the Mind Flayer, he would be charged for his crimes, but he managed to escape Earth and started to plot his return.
Fear not for your future, for now you must sleep. In Sagutmo's cradle your body shall steep. Your flesh a fine banquet, a delicate food. Your gift to the lady shall nourish the brood. What birds from your leavings and grows in her nave shall feed from your ruins and fat from your grave.
This haunting hymn is usually sung by the brainwashed zombies created by the Fungus Queen herself, Celium Sagutmoi, a powerful villain who wants to spread rot and decay throughout the world. Celium was born in a small European village where she learned she had strange powers to grow and manipulate fungus and plants, and because of this, she was labeled as a demon and was ostracized along with her family. She and her parents moved to America to start a new life, living in the city of Wizard's Coast, and Celium's mother begged her to never use her abilities ever again. Growing up was tough for Celium. She felt out of place. Not only was she a foreigner, but she felt like a freak. She didn't want the same thing to happen to her and her parents to happen here too. So she kept her powers a secret. But the less she used her abilities, the more she felt the urge to use them. After school, she would walk to the park and make the plant life grow. This helped her some, but one day, someone caught her. There was an old man feeding the ducks, and he caught a glimpse of Celium making the mushrooms around a tree grow. Celium saw this man looking at her with fear in his eyes, and memories of her village exploded in her mind. She didn't know what to do. She didn't want to be labeled as a demon anymore, but suddenly, two vines with pods at the end grew out of her back and shot out mysterious spores. She tried to stop them, but it was no use. Once the old man breathed in the spores, his eyes faded to all white. He turned around and walked directly into the pond and drowned himself. Celium had no idea what just happened as a vine sank back in her back. Did she just kill this man? No one was around to witness this, so she ran back home trying to hold back tears. The next day, a nursing home reported about a missing elderly man, and the newspaper showed a picture of him. It was the same man Celium killed, and a week later his body was found in a pond with fungus covering him. It was assumed that he walked into the body of water voluntarily, and no one ever found out the truth. Celium will keep using her powers in secret, but now she is extra cautious around people. Back at the park, she saw a decomposing cat. She felt sorry for it and would dig it a grave. As she went to pick it up, spores started to fly out of her hands into the cat, and it woke up. The cat was mostly a skeleton, but it was somehow alive, or rather, it was undead. It spoke in Celium's mind, saying it only feels pain, begging for death once again. So Celium grabbed a rock and put the zombified cat out of its misery. Maybe her village was right. Maybe she was a demon. After that, she would become a shut-in, refusing to leave her home. As she grew older, her need to use her powers were getting stronger. She needed to let out more spores. She tried to hold off these feelings, but suddenly spores started to fly out uncontrollably. Spores were flying around the apartment complex, flying into the air vents, and many people unknowingly breathed it in. Celium ran out of the building trying to run away from her problems, but she was being followed by a group of brainwashed people asking for her commands. Celium paused for a moment, thinking that if the universe wants to be a demon so badly, then fine, she will become one. In a quiet, almost defeated voice, she commanded them to spread the gospel, and thus the cult of the Fungus Queen was born. Don't let his size fool you. Even though Napoleon Silver is 3 feet tall, he makes up for his lack of height in his immeasurable amounts of rage and resentment towards supervillains. His family were amongst the many casualties when an alien race known as Illithus swarmed the city of Wizard's Coast. He wasn't a religious man, but he was tired of dealing with the demon in the bottle and was willing to do anything to bring them back. He would even sell his soul. That thought was enough to have the devil himself appear right in front of Napoleon and offer him a deal. His undying soul for the resurrection of his family. A contract and pen materialized in the devil's hand, and Napoleon was in a drunken haze and thought he had nothing else to lose, so he signed the contract, and the devil thanked him and vanished in a puff of smoke. Napoleon wakes up the next morning, thinking the whole exchange was just a weird dream, but as he walks down the stairs to the kitchen, he sees his wife and daughter sitting at the table. He was ecstatic and ran in for a hug, but his wife would scream and grabs a frying pan, swinging it. She nor their daughter had any memories of Napoleon, and would see the reflection of the devil laughing maniacally in the toaster. Not only did they lose their memories, but when Napoleon walked into the kitchen, they started to cough up blood. Napoleon's wife and daughter would run out of the house, and this would be the last time he ever saw them. Napoleon is furious, and he wants to take his revenge out on the villains who took his family, so he joined a cult and studied and even mastering magic. He became the vigilante known as Devil's Due, and if you asked him, he would say he's doing this world a favor, but his brutal tactics caused the media to label him as a menace to society. Fun fact, this is actually based off my first D&D character, and the reason why I'm adding this into the video is because this cold weather is really getting to me, and I did create this character for one of Popcross Studios' subscriber submission videos. I figure, why not just add it here, because technically he is D&D related, but he's not a D&D monster, nor really is he like an official D&D character, but he is a character that's close to me because, like I said, he is the first D&D character that I made. I will be showing the art of the original Napoleon up on screen. And also, another fun fact, in case if you couldn't tell from the story, he is based off of a warlock, and his patron in the campaign that he was in is actually Sagetmoid, the previous character in this video. But I didn't really think of an organic way to incorporate her into his superhero, anti-hero story, so it's just the generic devil, which is kind of like a holdover from when I made this character for Popcross Studios' subscriber submission video. But yeah, anyway, I hope y'all like this character, and hope y'all like this video. Anyway, I guess that's it. So on to the next character, Owlbear. Owen Grizzly spent all night partying. Then he woke up with a massive hangover, and he was about to be late for his final exams. His roommate, on the other hand, just inherited a spellbook from his late grandfather, and as he was flipping through the pages, Owen asked if there was a spell that could help him with his test. Owen is studying to be a veterinarian, but he spent most of his time in college throwing parties instead of studying. His roommate flipped to a page that had a spell called Strength and Wisdom. Maybe this could help Owen power through his hangover and absorb a huge amount of knowledge in mere seconds. His roommate read the incantation, and it seemed like nothing happened. Owen's phone started buzzing. It was his reminder that the test was about to start, so he rushed to the classroom just in the nick of time. After the exam, he went back to his dorm and asked his roommate if he said the spell wrong. He didn't, or at least he thinks he didn't. He was about to read the spell again, but Owen interrupted him, saying he doesn't want to double up on spells, even if it might have not worked the first time. So with that, his roommate closed the book and asked if he wanted any drinks. Then they went downtown and visited their favorite bar, the Dungeon Masters. This bar is very popular, oftentimes being visited by the local heroes of Wizard's Coast. You will hear some of the craziest stories being told in this bar, about heroes fighting villains and monsters. There are even rumors of a famous singer seducing dragons. But those can't possibly be real, right? Anyway, a few shots down and Owen was feeling funny. Not drunk funny, more so his muscles started to ache. He looked out the window and stared at the bright full moon, and noticed his vision was better. Not only that, but if he concentrates on a specific spot, he can magnify his vision and see things far away. Suddenly, his roommate tapped him on his shoulder, asking if he was alright, and Owen lost focus. Owen said he was fine, and walked to the bathroom. He splashed water on his face, and as he went to turn off the faucet, the sink broke out the walls, with him barely touching it. He suddenly hears a commotion in the bar. It sounded like robbers were holding the place up. Owen quickly opens the door, ripping it off its hinges, and he sees a couple of masked goons charging up spells, asking for people's money. He didn't realize it, but his body grew to the size of a grizzly bear, and without thinking, he charged in on one of the criminals, bouncing him off the walls. He stared at the other one, trying to intimidate him. The other criminal charged in, firing an eldritch blast, and Owen was using his arms to block it, and he grabbed the masked man and threw him out the bar. Everyone cheered, and his roommate said, "I think the spell worked." Owen was looking around, and then he finally looks down and says, "Holy crap, I'm huge." Everyone was thanking them as they were leaving the bar, and Owen asked his roommate if he knew when the spell would wear off, but he didn't have an answer for that. Owen woke up the next morning, and he was back to normal, and he aced his exam as well, and celebrated with another party. But as night rolled back around, his powers started to activate again. Turns out Owen would transform into this hulking form at night. He knew he has to use these powers for good, and it wouldn't hurt to be famous as well. So with help from his roommate, he fashioned a super suit, and with his super strength and super vision, he named himself Owlbear, and he quickly became a popular hero in Wizard's Coast. Alright, D&D monsters as superheroes and villains, and I really like the art for this video, and originally I was only going to have 3 characters for this video, but I wanted equal amounts of heroes and villains just to balance it out. So at the very last minute I added my own character, Napoleon. This version of Napoleon was originally made for Popcraft Studios subscriber submission video, and you can briefly see the art in the actual video. And also the reason why he's 3 feet tall is because in the actual game I made him into a gnome. Because I thought it would be fun to have like an angry gnome character. He was my first D&D character, and I was kind of like just making like a joke character in case if I didn't actually like the game, I can have fun with the character. But it turns out I really liked the game, and I also had a lot of fun with the character. And he's kind of like, when I first made him, he was more so kind of based off of Spawn. Because when I was making the character, I didn't really know what to do, because I never made a D&D character. So I just kind of like stole aspects of Spawn, because if you think about it, Spawn is technically a warlock superhero. So I just added in like Spawn characteristics into Napoleon. Hence the whole like making a deal with the devil, which in the game, we kind of retconned that into making a deal with Sagutmoy. Because I didn't know about D&D demons and devils and all the other stuff, gods and whatever else it's in the game. So my Dungeon Master suggested why not have his patron be Sagutmoy. And also another reason why it's Sagutmoy, because in the game, again, he's a joke character. We found some glowing mushrooms in a cave. And I just thought, well, wouldn't it be funny if Napoleon ate some of these magic mushrooms? Which turns out to be wild magic mushrooms. And that's kind of spawned the whole Sagutmoy thing, because Sagutmoy is the Fungus Queen of Death and Decay or something like that. Fungus Demon Queen, I guess, actually. But yeah, anyway, that's going to be the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And the next video is going to be a very special video. It's going to be the season finale of Comics with T-Rav. And it's going to be the first episode in hopefully a series of videos titled Subscriber Suggestions Variety Video, or the SV for short. That's the official name for the series, the SV So yeah, I already got the suggestions picked out for the video, but if you have any more suggestions you want to leave me, you know what to do, just put them in the comments, and I'll just add it to a list of other suggestions I have. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do by now. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. T-Rav signing out. See ya!